Einstein on the Beach, the opera by Philip Glass, because it combines repetitive music, sort of groove or pulse-oriented music that doesn't seem to really have an emotional component to it, and a libretto that is, I think, even less emotional on the surface than the music is. And yet somehow the combination of the two of those things over the course of 4 hours becomes extremely moving to me, and it develops somehow an emotional component that I just find totally compelling. So that piece of music inspired me to try to find ways of approaching that combination of, or trying to reach a threshold of extreme emotionality or expressiveness in unexpected ways, to surprise the listener by creating what seems at first to be a sort of dry palette of a dry vocabulary, or a vocabulary of sort of unexpressive things, and to somehow find a way to transform those components, that vocabulary, into something that is moving. It doesn't. But so I think that if we get into this situation where we are trying to convince people why they need us, that is a battle that we can't win, because the people we're trying to convince are not going to speak the same language that we're trying to use to defend the role of art in the world. It seems to me that we often make the mistake of going to people who are concerned with measuring the impact of things in ways that are, statistical or numbers-based. So they want to know what sort of impact art and music has in terms of like numbers of people it reaches, or what geographical locations where can it go geographically, and they seem to be interested in statistical things, measurements of impact that are totally numerical and scientific. And I know, and a lot of my colleagues in the art world know, and I think a lot of musicians and listeners know, that you can't really describe the role of art and the impact that art has and music has on the world in terms of numbers and statistics. That there's something mysterious and evasive or ineffable that moves us about experiencing art with other people, or even on our own. But even when we listen to music on our own, there's a sense of connection to others that I think we almost always experience with good music and good art. It's a way, I think, of maybe it's a way it's a way of seeing things differently, of showing us different ways of looking at things that we may all have experienced or may not have experienced. And oh gosh, I'm just rambling now. But this is the problem I have, is that if you don't know, if you don't already think that art and music serves a purpose in the world, then I'm not sure that I could convince you that that's the case. And I don't necessarily want to try, like to spend energy trying. But I think that it serves a similar role perhaps to religion and psychology, therapy, but I would never, what am I trying to say? I think it maybe fills the same void in our lives that religion and therapy could fill. But I would not want it to be associated with those things other than that. So I don't know if I've answered that question at all, but maybe the point was not to.